Playoffs start in a little less than 3 weeks for your New York Knicks. And today we have a special episode for you guys. Once again, LV Live joining me again. LV, what's going on? How are you?
What's going on, man? Appreciate being back on Knicks Nation here, man, and kind of like get down to the nitty gritty here, man. Get ready for the playoffs. Talk about new transactions, new deals that we've made, and the outlook going forward, man, for the season, man. So let's talk about it.
Let's do it. Once again, appreciate you guys tuning in. LV also has a YouTube channel. Links in the description. Just wanted to come on here on this Tuesday afternoon, April 1st, April Fool's Day. I already see a bunch of April Fools going around, LV. I don't know if you if you checked out your Twitter timeline, but it's
Yeah,
crazy out there, man.
insane.
I actually put a April Fool's joke saying that Jim Dolan and Charles Oakley squashed the beef. Everyone was like, "Really?" I was like, "No."
Right. That's a pretty good one too. That's pretty good actually.
Yeah. So 8 games remaining, guys. 8 games remaining. LV and I wanted to talk about the playoff matchups, the best and worst playoff matchups for the New York Knicks. Couple of Knicks updates. PJ Tucker signed to a 2-year deal. Second year is a team option, I believe, and I believe it's signed. I mean, they announced it today, signed, sealed, and delivered. So PJ Tucker brings in that veteran presence, LV, and so what do you say about that? Like, just another voice presence in the locker room for the New York Knicks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's much needed, right? I think they're trying to pretty much
Yeah,
get a good feel in that locker room about what's the guidance obviously that they need. He's not going to play. I mean, it may be like pretty
I
much
thought he
bum
would,
minute.
but unfortunately, he
Yeah, no,
hasn't.
I don't. I don't even think he might be in condition to play. You know what I mean? He's been out the league for about like I think it was about almost a year.
Yeah,
I think he was sitting on somebody's bench, but I don't think he's been playing. So it made no sense to play him anyway, just going forward. To have a veteran presence in that locker room, especially a lot of young players coming on. They're very very heavy, top heavy, right, with the starters. But the rest of those guys, are really young guys, right? So I think they need someone to give that guidance. Guys
hmm
like Brunson, and of course, Towns and Hart. They don't need that, but a lot of those new guys they need that. And I think he obviously gave a positive outlook on the team, which Tibbs probably felt when he was in there. Probably saw the vibes of certain things in that locker room. Probably felt they needed to change some things, and him coming in there probably made those guys raise an eyebrow, man. Something that they felt that they needed to have around, and so this is a big deal, giving him this like for 1 year, right?
yeah.
Especially a guy that you're pretty much just going to have on the bench. Why would you do that for a guy like that if it's not for leadership, right? So I think it's a good move, man, going forward.
I did too. Josh Hart talked about it on the Roommates Pod as well, saying that he's a good voice in the locker room. In group settings, his voice stands out, and it's a 2-year deal, which is interesting. So it's a team option for next year. So LV, if a deal were to pop up this summer, he could be a throw-in. The Knicks can pick up that option, and he can be a throw-in. Kind of, thinking down the line, but it's just the work of this front office. They've just been savvy for years. So PJ Tucker is officially a New York Knicks, so we'll have him for the playoffs just in case of an emergency, I guess. So yeah, Karl Towns is questionable tonight. Knicks have a back-to-back. Knicks have 3 back-to-backs remaining. Just awful scheduling. But, LV, everything is pretty much locked up in terms of the Knicks side. And we'll talk about the Bucks and the Pistons. But Knicks, look, Cat is questionable tonight. I wouldn't even push it, man. Like if he's dealing with something, just rest him. Like I don't really want these guys to go out there and further damage something that's already, hurting them or whatnot. I just want to be ready for the playoffs, and we'll talk about the Brunson aspect as well. So, look, we have everything locked up. It's just a matter of who we play. I mean, we're still not locked in the 3rd seed just yet. Indiana won, so it's going to take us a few games to do that. But yeah, Cat's questionable tonight, LV. It's just a matter of just getting healthy for the playoffs and whatnot. That's how I look at it.
Hey, listen, man, I totally agree, man. I think it's 8 games left, man.
Yeah,
The most
that's it.
important person I think needs some minutes is going to be Brunson, right? You got to get him prepped and ready. He even mentioned that when he talked about where he was at and being able to start basketball. basketball things that he's going to be doing and going forward. So, of course, they were trying to push the issue saying, we're doing contact drills. He said, listen, basketball stuff, right? They were trying to push the issue to try to find out exactly what he's doing. To me, he's the only one that's going to need some minutes because what we don't want is we don't want a Cole Brunson starting the first series off, right? You want a guy that's kind of been warmed up. So I would say probably like the last 4 games, you should really kind of get him about 15 to 20 minutes a night.
Yeah.
And that's it. And sit him down. Everyone else, I think, should sit. I think you should sit Josh Hart. I think you should especially with his knee problems. Definitely sit Cat, especially with his knee issues. OG Anunoby, definitely. Even though he's been killing the league right now, let's have him sit and relax because we know he's injury prone. And now you can give Bridges his rest, his gift of getting some rest and letting Landry Shamet and those guys play. So I think it's very important, man. If you want to maybe play these guys the next couple of games, cool. But maybe give them like 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And then those last 4, let them kind of like rest out. But I think Brunson's got to play. You got to get him kind of revved up to get into the flow of the game. And then through that, man, we should be ready to go for the first round.
I agree. I don't think since Tom Thibodeau is your coach, he's going to do that. I know Mikal Bridges has his current streak going. But so he's an Iron Man. So even if he goes in the last game for like 2 minutes, I think they'll do that. And Jalen Brunson, I think if he wants that 65 games so he can be all NBA, which he said that personally he does, but in the long run, it makes sense to just rest. I believe he would have to come back on Sunday versus the Phoenix Suns just based on the scheduling. Like Knicks have another back-to-back after that, and if he wants to sit out that back-to-back, one of those games, I think he has to come back by Sunday, and that is pushing it a little bit. So, yeah. But Knicks in good shape. Got a game tonight versus the tanking 76ers, and I expect them to win, and we're just waiting on the dominoes to fall. Appreciate every single one of you guys in here. Dis Rover, Nostalgic, Carl, what's going on? Thank you for hopping on. Chopping it up. This Rover says, what did this Rover say? After PJ Tucker dapped up Donkey Mon Green, I really soured on him.
This Grover, it's crazy. That's a great statement, man. I can't even get mad at you for that. But if you're going to do that with him, man, you got to do that with everyone else, man. Everyone else did it too, man.
Yeah.
This Grover, everyone else did it too, including Tibbs. Okay, so everybody's got to get it, Disc Rover, not just PJ Tucker, sir.
Appreciate the comment, Disc Rover. Appreciate you guys in there. All right, so the Knicks' best and worst matchups for round 1, LV. I have a poll in the YouTube chat. Who do you want to play in the first round? So far, 7 votes. So far, everyone has picked the Milwaukee Bucks. I guess I can start first. I think the Knicks' dream matchup in the first round, LV, is the Milwaukee Bucks, simply due to the fact that there's no Damian Lillard. The injury is up in the air regarding his blood clot, and I don't think he's going to return. Now that I'm starting to hear different things from, the NBA media, I don't think he's going to return. That's a really scary injury, LV. And the Knicks just own the Milwaukee Bucks. They match up extremely well with the Milwaukee Bucks. I've said this for weeks now. I think if we get the Bucks, LV, I really want to sweep them, and I think the Knicks can have a gentleman sweep against them. But, they have Giannis. I don't want to really be too optimistic because anytime you have, an NBA champion, one of the best players in the NBA, that's always a tough task. But I personally think if the Knicks play the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round, I'm not going to call it easy work, but that's my easiest path, and that's my dream matchup in the first round. So that's what I got to say about the Bucks.
You're not going to say it. You're not going to say it. I'm going to say it. Easy work, man.
Easy work. Easy work.
And if you remember, and I came on the show and we talked about this, and I said I wanted the Bucks. I said that.
Yeah.
I said that on my show also. I said I was terrified of the Pistons. I was, and I still am. We got to stay far away from the Pistons, especially them out there, having fisticuffs with the Wolves. They're showing their fight. These guys, man, they got that fire in their belly, man. Stay far away from the Pistons, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very, very happy that we got the Bucks. I mean, when we mentioned this before, the Damian Lillard stuff wasn't out yet. Now that it's out, they are set up for the Knicks to come in there and have an easy first round against a team like that. And once again, yes, you want to give them respect because of Giannis. But let's be honest, Giannis is not the old Giannis. He's just not. He can't shoot. He's just going to the basket. Yes, he can get his, but we have a perfect matchup for him and OG Anunoby, which gives Giannis problems. He does.
Mm-hmm.
And now Giannis has got to defend OG Anunoby because what has OG Anunoby's been doing over these last 5 to 10 games, almost averaging 30, right? So now it's just matchups, man. They have Brook Lopez is a shell of himself.
He's a corpse out there. He's a corpse.
Are we really worried about Kyle Kuzma? No, we're not. We're not worried about Kuzma.
Dude barely shoots 30% from three.
Right. So once again, so this is a perfect matchup, and also and this is a perfect matchup also too for Brunson to come back, and it could be a smooth playoff transition for him.
There you go.
Because I think playing against a team like the Pacers or the Pistons would have put too much pressure on him, because he would have had to guard, he would have had to defend. There's no real guards up there you got to worry about with the Bucks, not at all. So Brunson can really kind of take it easy and kind of get himself prepped and ready for the next round. So that's even more so why I like the Bucks move. And so, yeah, man, I'm really excited about that.
Agree on everything you just said, and I didn't really think about the Brunson aspect. That's a really cool, wrinkle that you just threw in there. Yeah, Brunson can kind of ease his way in, because essentially, look, we just showed if they don't have Dame, OG can take care of them, Mikal can take care of them, and our bench Shamit's been starting to play well. I'm not sure if that'll carry over to the playoffs, but yeah, I just think they don't have anyone to guard OG. They don't really have anyone but Giannis, and I know they have some good shooters over there, and I just want to respect them, LV. I don't want to, get too crazy, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's easy work if we get the Bucks, and I think that's the Knicks' dream first round opponent right there. And there's actually a possibility that the Bucks, if they keep losing and the Hawks keep winning, that the Hawks can jump them and take the 6th seed, but I doubt that. I just think the way it's lining up right now, so I have the percentages. I did the homework. So to finish the 6th seed, the Bucks have a 50% chance and the Pistons have a 47% chance. So it is very much still up in the air. And both LV and I want the Milwaukee Bucks. And LV brought up the fact that you can ease Jalen Brunson back. You don't really have to push him that much because, let's just be real. I honestly think we could beat him without JB.
Right.
I think we could beat him without JB, especially if they don't have Dame. So I don't think that's going to happen, because I know he's going to want to play, but you can kind of scale his minutes back a little bit. So is there any other matchup that you would like to, if the Knicks face the Pacers, do you think that's also a good matchup for us? I've heard a lot of people say that they don't want the Pacers, or they want the Pacers to get some revenge back. So, but right now, 1A is Milwaukee for you.
Not even 1A. Let's say 1 in bold letters, right? Let's kind of put 1 in high beams, however you want to do it, right? That's what we want. I don't want the Pacers. I want to stay far away from the Pacers, man. They're playing really, really well, and they have that high-octane offense that gives us problems, right? Not saying we can lose to them. I'm not saying that. But once again, you want your first round to be a smooth transition, right? Even though it's not going to be all the time.
Yeah.
But if my thing is this, if I can get that with a kind of Brunson not being 100%, I would prefer that. I don't want to see the Hawks, because once again, it's all about matchups, right? So we got to be mindful of that. Dyson Daniels against Brunson. I don't want to see that in the first round. I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
he's going to give JB problems, right? He is. A healthy Brunson has got to be 100% to do what he does against Dyson Daniels, right? But, kind of like not so, healthy Brunson, Dyson Daniels, I might get the edge to him defensively on Brunson, right? So we don't want to see that first round. So once again, because of our top dog is kind of, coming off an injury, and Josh Hart's dealing with his knee stuff, Towns hasn't looked the same. I think his knees are still bothering him. Let's have a series to where it could be smooth. We could be easy, because we know who we're going to see in the second round. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We know we're going to see Boston, so we want these guys ready to go to get ready for that 7-game series.
Agree. Appreciate you guys in the chat, as always. Nick says Thibs sitting out OG is the same likelihood of me getting struck by lightning twice. LV is not gonna happen. Like I mean,
Yeah.
okay, final 3 games. If the Knicks are locked up, I think somebody would get the dibs, and I think he will. He's done it before. He will. But it's up to OG too, because OG's rolling right now. You don't want to really get him out of that rhythm. He's playing like a superstar, LV. I know. I've been listening to you on your post games, man.
Yo,
I've been.
listen, Ant Man. Yes, but there's always that little thing, right, with him, right? You see him going to the basket sometimes. You're like, OG, take it easy. I don't want him to fall on the elbow, fall on the wrist. I
Yeah.
don't know anything from head to toe with this guy. You got to watch out because that's the big thing with him. That's the Achilles heel.
Mm-hmm.
He's starting to come around offensively, right? We see the numbers the last 5 games. He's killing the league. He's averaging about 30 points a game, shooting 60% from the field, shooting almost 50% from three. This is what he's doing right now. But in the back of my mind, I'm saying, please stay healthy. Please stay healthy. Please stay healthy. Because that's what we want to see. We want to see a healthy OG Anunoby going into the postseason. So I would rather rest him because of the history of injuries with him. I mean, that's been the biggest issue. A lot of people felt, and they said it on this show, and a lot of people felt, and on my show, why did we pay him all that money? We know he's injury prone. Why did we pay him all this money? We shouldn't be paying him this. Now you see why he's getting the $212 million. Now you guys see he's that good. He's that good. But that's the other side of the coin, man, is that he's very injury prone. So for me, I would rather lean on the side of caution and kind of deal with what you're going to see in the playoffs with him, but a healthy OG Anunoby as opposed to a limping one.
OG's amazing, man. And look, we'll talk about the second. Obviously, I don't. We'll talk about the second round. But if he continues to play like this, LV, this is the version that before the season, prior to the season, that we envision like this Knicks team can get far if OG hits his upside and Mikal does his thing, and that's what they've been doing. So, all right. So, dream matchup is the Bucks. LV and I agree. It is the Milwaukee Bucks. It is lining up that way. Again, it's very fluent. Pistons also have the 5th hardest schedule remaining. The Bucks and the Pistons have a double matchup to close out the season. And the Bucks have the tiebreaker currently with 2 wins over the Pistons. So let's say they're going to those games with the same record. If the Bucks win one, they're the 5th seed. And the Pistons are the 6th seed. So there's still a lot to go down in these final 8 games. But right now it is looking like the Milwaukee Bucks are going to finish the 6th seed. But there's still, I mean, that matchup, they played each other, I mean, the final 2 games of the season, LV. So that could be the telling point of who we play. I mean, all eyes will be on that game, So, yeah. All right. So my nightmare scenario, LV, and it's not to say that I don't think that we can beat them. But my nightmare scenario for this New York Knicks team got to be the Detroit Pistons, man. Got to be the boys in Detroit. Pistons have our number this year. And do you know how much emotion will be poured into that series? They'll be out for blood against the New York Knicks. Every possession will be a war. Every call will be contested. Fights, loose balls. They've got nothing to lose. Right? Everyone's going to pick the Knicks in that series. Some will pick the Pistons and get crazy. That's what makes them dangerous. And you've seen the brawls. You've seen the brawl in Minnesota. The suspensions just came out. They'll try to drag us into the chaos. Stewart will try to I don't know, man. They'll try to take everything out of us and leave us battered for the next round, LV. So, me personally, I'm not running. But I don't want any part of that. I don't want any part of that, man. That's just my opinion.
Hey, listen, man. You're right on.
Yeah.
Once again, I said it on the show before, man. I've said it on my show before as well. They are dangerous, man. They're a very, very dangerous team. And in the playoffs, guys, remember this. It's not the best team. It's not. It's the law of attrition, man. Mm-hmm. Who can get through the playoffs healthy enough to get to the finals and win it? It's a law of attrition. That's it. It has nothing to do with anything else. Sometimes it's just the fact that one guy's hurt, another guy's hurt. That's what happened to, the Bucks last year, right? Giannis hurt his calf. He was out for that first round series, right? So this is what happens. The Pistons, not Pistons, excuse me. If you remember, Celtics were beating up on a lot of teams that were hurt.
Yep.
And so look at what the Pacers did to us. They caught us. OG and we pulled the hamstring. Brunson, broke his hand, right? So they caught us. Josh Hart hurt his ribs, right, or whatever was going on with him. So it's the law of attrition, man. So whoever's the healthiest gets to the finish line. And so to me, that's why I want to avoid Detroit, because it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be a ball fight, man. It's going to be a ball fight. And so you don't want that going into a Boston series. Yep. That's the thing. I'm not saying I think we lose to Detroit. I think we beat Detroit.
Yeah, likewise.
But I think we beat Detroit in probably 6, whereas we could beat the Bucks in 4 or 5. That's a game changer, man. Here and there.
Actually, next year, like 5 days off.
Right. So you have to understand, man. That's really what it's about. No one thinks the Pistons are going to beat the Knicks. I think the Knicks are going to beat them. But what is it going to take? The toll that it's going to take, on our team, the bumps and bruises we're going to get, knock on wood, the possible injuries that we can get right from that series. I mean, because they listen, you've already seen what they can do. They're not a team that's going to go out lightly, and they're even, even Isaiah Stewart does dirty plays. Just don't pull Giannis that one time. Giannis tried to make a layup. He pulled him from the back of a jersey, slammed him on the ground. This is the type of basketball these dudes are playing out there, and they're allowing it.
Detroit.
They got a coach out there in Bickerstaff. He's got a chip on his shoulder because how we bullied them when he was with the Cavs. So there's going to be a certain type of motivation coming into that game and playing against us, and we have a hobbled Brunson. So they're going to be licking their chops, man. So yeah, it is a nightmare scenario, and we need to stay far away from the Pistons. Believe it or not, I'll be honest with you guys. I would rather play the Pacers than I would the Pistons, just because of the wear and tear that it would take to play them. I would rather play the Hawks than the Pistons, just because of the wear and tear it would take on our team. It's just styles, guys. Styles make fights, and that's basically why I feel the way I feel in regarding that.
Is there another side to that argument? Like, let's say we go 6 games versus the Detroit Pistons, they take a lot out of us, but we build good habits. We come together as a team. We have a great series, and we have big, like, major momentum going into the Celtics series after this big series win versus Detroit. I think there's some value to that as well, LV. So it's not. You think so too? Is there some value to that?
No, I don't think so. I have to disagree with you. I just feel because of what we saw against Boston, we got to be ready, man. We got to be ready. I'm talking about everybody's got to be ready. Yeah. Everybody's got to be healthy. If this was maybe the Cavs, okay. But the way Boston plays with that 5 out, we also definitely should discuss how we should think about playing them, because it just puts so much pressure on our team. And the way they've looked playing against us, I mean, we've looked better against the Cavs than we did against Boston. So we limp into that Boston series with bumps and bruises and scars and sprained elbows and ankles and knees. Man, we might get smoked by like not even 4 games, man, 3.5. You might be like, all right, let's not even play the 4th game. Like, it might be one of those, you know what I mean? Just because that last series took so much of a toll on us. You can build grit. That's fine. That's cool. That happens. But I'm speaking like injury, like, things getting hurt, guys just not having the energy or the fight or just the health to be able to deal with that monster over there in Boston, man. Because look how well they're playing right now. How many they won, like 8 in a row, 9 in a row, or something like that? So they're playing they're playing really, really well going into the playoffs. So we got to be ready to go for them, man. And that's how I'm thinking.
Likewise, once again, appreciate you guys in the chat. Crimes Dad said we can have Dante tag in for a few rounds if we play the Pistons. Love that. Benny says, I wish the Pistons played against Boston. I think the Pistons can push Boston to 6 games. Pistons, I think, are the dark horse. I think they're dealing with some injuries right now, but I think they'll be healthy in times for the playoffs. And obviously, they're dealing with some suspensions right now. But you really want the easiest path as possible. And you look at Boston last year, they kind of coasted to the NBA Finals. And once they got to the NBA Finals, I mean, it was all she wrote for Dallas. So every year is different. This is not LV and I saying we want to duck the Detroit Pistons, because it's never that. But we're saying that if the Knicks and the Bucks play each other in the first round, it should be easy work. And that's just the confidence that we have because they really don't have anyone to guard OG Bull Anunoby. And Brunson can come back and ease his way in. And look, Detroit's scrappy, man. They're 2-1 against us this year. And they've beaten us twice in Madison Square Garden. The only win we had against Detroit was, I don't know if you remember, it was like one of the first few games of the season, November 1st.
It was early in the season. We blew them out in like the first quarter, man. And that was pretty much the game.
Yeah, we blew them out by 30 in that game. So that's the only win that New York Knicks have against the Detroit Pistons. Now I know the playoffs are a different animal, slows down, the game slows down, refs, start to get tight and whatnot. So, but yeah, I just think our dream scenario is the Pistons. I mean, the Bucks, and our nightmare scenario is the Pistons. So yeah, I wish I shared the same. This Rover says, I wish I shared the same confidence against the Pistons. I think they'll shoot us out the arena. So Dis Rover is not even picking us to win against the Pistons. So I would look that LB. There's a lot. If we face off against the Pistons in the first round, there's going to be a lot of media that will pick the Pistons because they will be the talk of the town. You already saw Udonis Haslem talking all that nonsense on ESPN saying he would pick the Pistons just based on how they play. And look, they're 2-1 against us this year, and I think we play them one more time. If I'm not.
Yes, we do. We do play them one more time. We do play them one more time.
But that game shouldn't matter. But yeah, I mean, 8 games remaining, guys. What you want to do to get far, and I know we're staring at the Boston Celtics in the second round, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But what you want to do to reach the second round is be healthy, and just be healthy and just build good habits, right? You don't want to go into Boston limping. You don't want to go in there without an OG Anunoby or Mikal. I mean, Mikal plays every game, or with the compromised Karl Anthony Towns or an 80% Jalen Brunson, because then you really have no shot.
or Mitch being down, right? Mitch getting hurt again.
Yeah. Then you really have no shot against them. So what you want to do, get 100. I mean, anything can happen in a game. I mean, in a series versus the Bucks, anything can happen. But what you want to do is head into the second round as healthy as possible, and then it's just – you just pray, right? You just pray. So, yeah, LV. So that's. Let's take a look at the poll that we got. What is everyone? All right. So who do you want to play in the first round? Bucks at 88%, Pistons at 12%, Pacers at no votes for the Indiana Pacers. So Pacers even last year posed a bad matchup for us, and I mean we were well on our way to beating them until OG Anunoby got hurt. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to shape up that way, OV. But I guess if you were to rank them, I would say Bucks. I would put the Pistons over the Pacers. I would say Bucks, Pistons, Pacers. That would be my ranking if I were to rank them.
Okay. Yeah, I got Bucks, Pacers, Hawks, then Pistons, man. I want to stay far away from the Pistons, man. I just do. And once again, it's not that I feel that they can beat the Knicks, man. I want everybody to be clear on that. LV's not saying that. But they play dirty, man. I'm watching them play, man. I'm like, they play hard, but they do a lot of dirty stuff, man. A lot of dirty stuff. And they're going to push the Knicks to the brink. They are, because they want to win. So they seem like a type of team that's willing to do anything to win. You know what I mean? Like they'll do Embiid's. You know what I mean? When Embiid did the Mitch last year, grab your ankle and stuff. They'll do all types of nonsense. Like, they're out there. Look, the playoffs are right around the corner. They're out there getting in fights. Like, think about that. That shows you right there. They have no clue about what's more important, because you don't want nobody getting hurt right before the playoffs. They're fighting for a seeding spot, and they're out there. Guys are getting suspended where they're going to lose a couple of games. They're out there throwing punches and pushing and shoving guys on the ground. That tells you that they're like kind of got a screw loose, right? So with that, I don't want anybody trying to, and you know this, we cannot let Mitch get hurt. We cannot, right? We know how easily he gets hurt. He's like tissue paper. We know that
happens. It's night.
So we can't have him in any situations to where he can possibly get hurt. Same thing with OG Anunoby, right? So Brunson's coming back from the ankle. So that's how I look at them. And that's why I have them at the bottom of the team I want to stay away from. Whereas if I know that if it's a fair, straight up and game, I feel the Knicks can beat the Pacers. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but I feel they can beat the Pacers. I feel they can beat the Hawks. I think it's going to be tough, but I think the Knicks can still do it. Same thing I feel about the Bucks. But just with the Pistons, I think the Knicks can beat all these teams with no problem in six games, 7 games, whatever you want. But it's just, what are we going to look like against Boston? To me, that is the key, guys. That is the key. We have not yet with everybody. Like, everybody's healthy, everybody's good. We haven't seen that yet with this team.
Yeah.
Right? So to me, that's the most important thing. I want us back ready to go because I want us full strength against Boston and see what we are. Also, too, and throw this out there. What do you guys think, right? Because I was going to do this on my show, but I'll throw it out here because I'm rocking with Ant, Knicks Nation. We're doing it here. So why not do it now? Do you guys think, based on the matchup against Boston, I'm jumping ahead here, but I like thinking in the future. Based on the matchup, should we start Deuce over Josh Hart because of Josh Hart's inconsistency with shooting and spreading out the floor to put pressure on Boston, and Josh Hart coming in with that second unit to help out and balance things out? Should we start Deuce to give us more of an offensive punch and put the pressure on them defensively? Because what they're doing is they're putting Porzingis on Josh Hart. That's what's happening. So now that leaves us, we have no offense right there. But if you put Deuce out there, what do you say about that for that series, guys? What do you say, and what say you?
You're talking about versus Boston, right?
Versus Boston in that series.
This Rover says yes, 100% Deuce over Josh Hart. Look, Josh Hart has had some great playoff series for us. And I understand it, LV. I really do. But I'm also thinking of, do you really think Tom Thibodeau is going to do that? Like, a part of me wants to do that, and he will do that in game. And you'll see a lot of those.
Okay. Take Tibbs out of this.
Take Tibbs out.
If you're the coach, you got the hat on right now. They're saying, Ant, bring us to the mountaintop. What say you? What do you do in that situation?
I think in order to beat Boston, you have to be a little funky. You have to throw them off. You can't be too predictable against the Boston Celtics. You can't have them look at you and look at the starting lineup already pretty much predetermining everything. So on that front, I like it, because then you're throwing Boston off a little bit, and they're like, you really haven't played Josh Hart off the bench the entirety of the season. We really don't have any tape on that. So on that front, I like it. But I can't take Tibbs out of it. I just can't. Like, that's our coach. Like, he's not going to do that.
Right.
Like, he's not gonna bench Josh Hart and put in Deuce McBride in a series versus Celtics. I personally will try that, because I think in a series versus Boston, you have to get kind of funky. And again, it'll kind of not throw them off their game. But you're seeing lately, teams are throwing centers at Josh Hart, and they don't respect his shot, nor that they should. He's shooting poorly this year. But I think that will kind of get Boston off of the game a little bit. Not saying that, we will ultimately beat them, but I like it. I like the idea, but I just can't take our coach out of this equation. Like, every time I say, I like that, I see Tom Thibodeau in my head, and I'm just like, all right, Thibs, he's not going to do that. So, but
right. Listen.
Like
I throw that out there because it's something to think about. It's something to think about, because the reality is that every time we've played them, that's been the problem. Everybody else is doing something, but Josh Hart is afraid to shoot. And here's the thing, guys. The rebounds are cool. Like, the rebounds and the hustle plays are cool. It's not cool when Boston's knocking down everything and they're making all their shots. Like, so now it's like, but now we come down offense, we're missing shots because Josh don't want to shoot. So we're basically playing 4-on-5. This is just against Boston. So now you say to yourself, okay, what does this look like for us offensively? Because we're going to have to match them, because they're going to get theirs, right? So, you're going to have to give up something. You're going to give up the rebounding. Okay, cool. The hustle play is cool. But defensively, I don't think you give up much, because Deuce is a better defender, right? So now you can kind of get that, and Deuce is a better shooter. So once again, this is just against Boston. And to me, you got to throw in that little wrinkle, man, because I'm telling you right now, If they start off the game and they're up 20-7, ball game. Because now it's going to get back into our heads because we can't keep up with them offensively because of Josh. That's the issue. On offense, we're basically playing 4-on-5. That's why I would throw that out there just for that series. I think Josh, if it was against Cleveland, you keep him out there because now we don't got to worry about that. But also, too, with Cleveland, you might have to consider not starting Josh and throwing Mitch out there because you put Mitch on Josh Allen.
Yeah.
You put Cat on Mobley, right? So now, once again, you got to be able to adjust in the playoffs. That's what makes the good coaches from the great coaches. So it's just curveballs I like throwing out there for you guys to go out there and think about because the playoffs are here now. So now we got to start thinking about matchups and what's going to work because we're trying to win, man. That's it. Like Al Davis says, just win, baby. That's it. And that's all we want to do. So what do we need to do to compete with the best echelon teams that have made us look like G League teams when we played them? What do we do to adjust on that? That's why I throw that curveball out there.
It's an interesting take, and I like it. But Deuce, better shooter, yes. Deuce has also been inconsistent this year, LV. And you say Deuce is a better defender. I agree. But the intangibles Josh Hart brings, I think we will miss that a little bit with Deuce on the bench. Stuff like the loose ball stuff and just the heart. And we've seen it already from Hart in these playoff series. So I'm just trying to argue against you to kind of make it
I think it's a fabulous argument. I think it's a fabulous argument. But once again, guys, I didn't say he end off the game. I should say start the game. Just start the game. We know Josh Hart is not coming off the court in the fourth quarter. He's just not because he gets those 50-50 balls that are winning plays. We know this. What I'm saying is, do we do that to throw out the wrinkle? And then however the game goes, you pay attention to that. I mean, I don't know, man. We got to change something up because we cannot start off. And once again, Elvis jumping the line here. Let's go. I don't know. We got to get through the first round. I get it. I just like having these conversations.
Moves out to the second round. We out to the second round.
I just like having these conversations with him because I'm here with him. So I just throw this out there. I'm just saying, if we get down 22-5 or 23, because that's what it's been like every time we played them, game is over. Because you know the first game is going to be in Boston. We get down by that, it's over. So my thing is, okay, man, we got to kind of throw a curveball in here to change up things. You know what I'm saying? Because then after that, however the game goes, you pay attention. Like Tibbs says, right? The game will tell you what to do. So make those adjustments based on that. But we need that offensive punch. We definitely need that. And I'm sorry, man. If we was to ever see Cleveland, you got to start Mitch. You got to start Mitch against Allen because you got to set the tone there. Mitch been tossing them boys around like it's nothing. To me, that's the key with that. And Josh is going to have to sit for that. That's my opinion. Throw it back out there to the chat and to Ant. Josh Hart
playoff stats. I just looked it up. 37% from three last year. 14.5 points a game, 42 minutes a game. I just think you can't. Like, I know, I get it. I totally do. But I think, I agree. Versus Boston, you got to throw wrinkles out there because they're such a great team, and you can't be too predictable. You have to throw curveballs out there. You have to. So if you get blown out game one, I'm starting Deuce in game two. Like, I'm throwing curveball. I'm starting Mitch. Like, I'm throwing anything out there to beat them because people are going to write you up before the series. And look, they've blown us out 3 times this year, as they should. But I understand it, but I know Josh Hart is going to play 40 to 45 minutes in a game in the playoffs. Like, I just know. So it's like, Deuce will look better out there with the starters so that they can space out more and you don't have the lane clogged as much because they're throwing centers at Josh Hart and he's in a funk where he's not shooting now. And it's kind of, I understand that point, but at the same time, I just know he's going to play 40 to 45 minutes in a game. He just gives us so much more than, his missed shots or being left open, LV. And I think that's valuable to winning. And you just have to have a heart on the floor because he's shown us, man. I mean, even in the series versus Philly, I mean, in the series versus Cleveland where he hit the clutch shot. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when he's open, he will shoot, and he will shoot some clutch shots in the playoffs.
Agree. Playoff Josh is different.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yes.
I don't know, man. But listen, starting Deuce out there, man. That looks really, really good for that Boston series.
Listen,
man.
Deuce got to get healthy first and foremost. So that's another thing. All right, so let's hit some of these comments. Appreciate you guys in the chat. Let's hear what you guys are saying. Talented Nate says, against the Celtics, starting McBride over Josh Hart makes sense. Just imagine that our worst shooter in that lineup is actually Mikal Bridges. Talented Nate, what's going on? Appreciate you in the chat. Yeah, it does. Look, if you want to beat Boston LV, try anything. But
They're the champs, man. They're the champs. You got to throw the kitchen sink at them. You have to.
Alicia says, Josh is a hustler. Then a kill from Val with the super chat. What's going on? Val says, fire Thibs, LOL, with the super chat. Oh, man. Fire Thibs. 8 games remaining. We getting fire Thibs chance again.
Yeah. Tibbs isn't going anywhere, man. Sorry.
And then Alicia says pretty much what I've been thinking, and I have in back of my head. Although Thibs is not changing anything. He is too stubborn. It's not that he's too stubborn. He is. First of all, he is stubborn, by the way. But I just think, look, in a regular season, yeah, you want to give lineups 10, 15. Thibodeau gives it 20 games to kind of figure things out, LV. But in the playoffs, I mean, we've seen it these last couple of seasons. Last year we just dealt with injury after injury, so it was like, but you remember it took a while to go to Alec Burks, and he went to Burks, and Burks actually gave us something. All hands on deck, man, in the playoffs. I don't want to see the same thing this year. I don't want to see the same song and dance. Yes, I'm picking us against the Bucks 4 or 5 games. Great. LV and I have already moved us to the second round, and we're talking about the Boston Celtics right now. Now Boston gets clipped by somebody. Great. Right now they're scheduled to play either the Hawks or the Magic. I think they'll sweep either one of them. But if you want to beat the Celtics, you have to try. Anything is on the table. Anything. You just can't continue the same stubbornness. You can't just keep throwing the same lineup out there and being too predictable, because you're going to lose, right? But if OG's playing like this, LV, if Mikal's playing like this against the Celtics, I still think the Knicks have a shot. And look, it's not a great shot, but OG Anunoby is currently playing like a superstar, and Brunson is back to Brunson. I think you got to match the intensity from their wings, because if that doesn't happen, then, we don't have a shot regarding that. So I just think, but yeah, LV, I agree. In a perfect world, I think they've got to throw curveballs. But we've seen from this coach that that's not in his repertoire. He doesn't like throwing curveballs. So,
right. Also, too,
I agree, LV.
Listen, man. I totally agree, man. I love that. That's why I like throwing curveballs out there to you guys, for you guys to really break down and talk about, because these are things I talk about on my channel. Yeah. So I haven't had a chance to talk about it with Ant, so I just want to throw it out there to him. But also, too, guys, we got to be mindful too that going forward, what is this playoff rotation going to look like, guys? What is it going to look like? Is Precious going to play, or is he out the rotation? Does Shamet play? Does Campaign play? With the Delon Wright, has been playing. What does that do with Campaign's minutes? What does it do to Campaign's minutes now that they realize that Josh Hart can run an offense and so can Mikal Bridges from the top of the key? What does that look like for the playoff rotation? Does he go 9? Does he go 8 deep? What does it look like? Because the definites are going to be Deuce and Money Making Mitch coming off the bench. Mm-hmm. Who's the 8th guy? Does Tibbs go 8? Does he go 9? Right, so these are very, very important things.
I think you have to, because you got to get these guys some breathing, some rest on the bench. So, yeah, it's Deuce and Mitch. I think he has to go 8, and whether that's Shamet, Payne, you can obviously, it depends on the matchup. But, hey, we were clamoring to see Delon Wright. You traded for him, and you didn't really know what you knew what he was, but this is why we wanted to see him versus that Hornets game, because due to all these injuries. But now that he's playing, look, I still do think you're going to see Campaign a little bit, LV. I know you're going to see Deuce. You're definitely going to see Mitch. And I do think you're going to see Shaman out there. Now, their minutes are going to be condensed, but I do think you're going to see them out there depending on the flow, depending on the matchup. But again, it goes back to what I'm saying. Somebody said it in the chat. Baga, what's going on, Baga? Thibs, great regular season coach, horrible postseason coach, worst in-game coach in sports when it comes to making or lack of in-game and series adjustments. Some truth to that, LV. Some truth to that. And we've seen it in these years past, especially since we've been capped off second round. I know last year was due to injuries, but look, you got to play chess out there, right? You can't go into a series versus Boston and have them knowing your every single move.
Right. Agreed.
You're already behind the 8 ball. So Thibs just has to be creative. And this is why I love seeing Kolek. This is why I love seeing Wright. Now, would they play in a playoff series? Does Thibs dare to switch it up a little bit? Like, let's say Campaign is out there not doing anything for like 2 or 3 games. Do you think Tom Thibodeau is going to go to someone else, or do you think he's going to continue to go to Campaign? That is a question that.
Right, but I don't think he goes to someone else. I think he'll ask one of the main guys to run that offense if Brunson is sitting, like a Bridges or Josh Hart to bring the ball up for that second unit. That's what I think will happen, because you're starting to see it now. He's starting to show his hand a little bit now. That's why I threw that out there. You're starting to see what it's going to be, slowly but surely. So Brunson being down, in a sense, was the gift and the curse, because you started to identify who guys' strengths and weaknesses. Of course, the emergence of Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, those guys are playoff ready, right? So we understand that. The thing is that what is he going to do? Is he going to go 8 or 9 deep? I think he goes 8. And I think he's not going to really – if he goes 9, that's only because someone got hurt or someone's in really, really bad foul trouble. But he's going to go 8. And if Campaign's not cutting it, which I don't know if he will, or he's going to try him out, Tibbs is going to yank him quick. It's not going to be, I'm trying to figure things out. And he's going to play the guys he trusts and who he believes in. And so he's going to – that second unit, if Campaign's not cutting it, that'll be his last game. Trust me, it will. And Mikal Bridges, he's proven it. He can run things from the top of the key, or Josh could help out bring the ball up. And then he's going to get Brunson back in there, and that's going to be it. That's exactly how he's going to play it. You
don't see him going a Kolek or
no way.
Right. Like, let's say we need some defensive size.
No way. I don't even think Precious even plays that much. I think he's going to be on a short hook. Tibbs, especially with Mitch coming back, because now they're ramping up Mitch. Mitch is going to play a lot. Mm-hmm. So now Tibbs is going to use all the top guns, and he's going to say, okay, you guys was complaining about minutes. You're going to really play now. Those guys are going to be playing 40-plus minutes in the playoffs. I'm telling you right now, so everyone be prepared. The guys that are going to play a lot, you're going to see coming off the bench, you're going to play about 30-plus minutes, are going to be Deuce and Mitch. Shamit and Campaign, it's going to fluctuate between those 3. Shamit, Campaign, and Precious. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to go 8. And if those guys are kind of shaky, he's going to try to steal minutes. It's going to be a quick hook. He's not going to be playing. So everybody pay attention to that. Pay attention to these games, guys. You're going to start to see what he's trying things out. Because I see Mikal bringing it up. I see Josh bringing the ball up. I said, okay, this is Tibbs messing around. He's trying to see what it's going to be, because listen, man, the playoffs, all the money is down. All the chips are down now. So now we don't have time to be playing any games. So he's not going to – we already know he's stubborn. So if you're not playing well, these guys coming to the bench, you may not see the court for another 2 weeks. So I'm just saying, be prepared in the playoffs for him to just say, I'm going 8 and that's it.
But that goes back to the predictability, like against the Celtics. Like, if you want to throw different looks at them, I would deviate to someone else. Like, I know Payne, but I think Payne is going to perform well for us. I do. He's somebody said in the chat, Cam in the playoffs should be good for everyone's nerves. Robert in the chat. He loves to chuck that thing, but he can also make it. Before he got hurt, he was actually doing a pretty solid job.
He was. You're right.
And Kolek has been a great job at distributing, and I think he has a bright future in this league. But I agree. I don't think when it comes down to a 7-game series, and let's say the Knicks advance first round. I know we're thinking ahead, but I just think if Payne's struggling, if Shamet is struggling, the right thing to do would be just try things and maybe throw in a Kolek or throw in a DeLon Wright or throw in someone else to see if they, have it in that series. But, Thibs is just going to play the starters more. And he's just going to play Deuce more. He's just going to play Mitch more. And he's just going to mix and match regarding that. And that goes back to the in-game adjustments and the stubbornness. But I want to be positive, LV. I want to be positive. I do think. Go ahead.
Listen, no, look, we all being positive. We're just calling a thing a thing. He's gonna go 8. I'm telling you. Listen, he's telling you what he's doing right now. He's just letting Mitch get his. Mitch is gonna play a lot, man, because he loves Mitch. He said it about a month ago. He said Mitch was gonna be our starting center. So he's letting you know how he sees Mitch. He sees Mitch out there at the 5, and you have Cat at the 4. That's what he really wants to do. He let it be known in that presser. So he's gonna play Mitch a lot in the playoffs, and so he's gonna play Josh Hart a lot, like you stated, 45 minutes. That's who he's playing. So what I'm saying is, he's gonna go 8, depending on how you're playing, whether it's Shamet, whether it's Precious, whether it's Payne. That's gonna depend how many minutes you get. And he's going to fluctuate between those 3. Mm-hmm. But the 2 are solids, Mitch and definitely Deuce. And so those are the guys. And so I don't think he's going to go 9. He's not going to do that, man, because he's not going to want to waste minutes. He's not going to let guys rock. And if we're up by 5, you let guys stay out there, then we lose the lead and now we're down 6. He's not going to allow that. Not in the playoffs. So if guys aren't doing what they need to be doing out there in the court, they're going to get a quick yank. He's going to tell Mikal play the 1. Josh, you go out there with him. OG Anunoby, Shamet, and Big Cat or Mitch. And we pretty much are buying time until we can get Brunson back in there. That's what we're doing. I'm telling you, that's how it's going to be, guys. So just be prepared to be frustrated about guys playing like 40-something minutes. But this is Tibbs in the playoffs, man. It's just be prepared for that.
And everyone, it's not just Thibs. Everyone plays 40-plus minutes in the playoffs, LV. Look, the only, like Thunder, they have a deep team, but I'm sure when the playoffs hit, they're all going to play a lot of minutes. And I think first round, I do think Thibs will go 9 in the first round because I just do think the Knicks are more talented than the Milwaukee Bucks. So I don't really want him to go 8 in the first round, but I do think he will go 9 in the first round. And I do think you will see Shaman, Mitch, Payne, Deuce. I think that's your bench. That's your bench. In a perfect world, that's your bench. Celtics series comes around, then you got to get funky. You switch it up. Maybe switch the starting 5 up. And I know that starters will play more. But if Shamit's having a good last couple of games, Shamit has been showing us that finally, 3 threes a game. If we need that, LV, we need that off the bench. We need his quick release stuff, his running off curls. That's important.
He's been solid defensively also.
Yeah, that's important to this team, and that's important for the bench because, we're thin, right? At least we think we're thin, but I don't think. Look, DeLon Wright has been giving us great minutes lately due to all these injuries. Kolek has been really solid, but I think in a perfect world, I think against the Celtics, I don't know, Avi, if we have Knicks Celtics second round. Obviously, reset the room a little. Appreciate every single one of you guys in here. Once again, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, all the good stuff. LV has a YouTube channel down in the description. LV hops on every week, and we just chop it up, talking New York Knicks. We are talking about the Knicks playoff matchups, who we want to avoid. LV and I really want the Bucks in the first round, and it is looking like that. Currently, the Knicks have a 50% chance playing the Bucks, 47% chance playing the Pistons in the first round. LV and I both stated that the Pistons would be the matchup we would like to avoid due to, them being Detroit and the physicality and just the grind in that series. Because you know what's staring at you right in the face in the second round, and that is that leprechaun, the Boston Celtics. But I don't know, LV, the way OG Anunoby has been playing lately, it's getting me excited, man. It's getting me excited about playing Boston like that. If he plays like that against Tatum, Brown, and wears them out with his physicality, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Not
Hey, listen. Hey, look, man. I agree. I love it, man. I love it. I'm not afraid of Boston like I was before, and that's because of the ascension of OG
and they
Anunoby.
haven't seen
That's why.
Mitch.
And Mitch too, right? So that's the beauty, like I said, of the gift and the curse of Brunson, right? I stated it on my channel. That's the beauty of it, because now with the ascension of OG Anunoby and what he's been able to do offensively, and he's started to identify like, yo, okay, I'm 6'8", 250 pounds. No one can stop me when I'm going to the basket. I'm kind of
Yeah.
like a LeBron James and a Giannis. I'm kind of like those type of players. Let me do that. And he's doing that, and he's realizing it's like a switch is going off, like something has been unlocked,
Hmm.
right? And that's why I said Brunson being gone has really opened this guy up offensively. So now it's going to be up to Tibbs to, once again, it's how he's going to earn his money, to make that smooth adjustment to when Brunson comes back, that you don't really want to lose that aggressiveness and that, that sense that OG Anunoby has, that he can pretty much do what he wants on the court, right? He's the biggest, strongest guy out there, most athletic. So he feels like, okay, there's no one that could check me. You want that same mindset going into Boston and going into the playoffs, right? So to me, I don't know if he's going to have those opportunities with Brunson, but you find that now with the second unit. You find that now with the second unit where him and Bridges are out there. And you have those guys running that second unit to where you don't really skip a beat offensively because Brunson is sitting. And that's where you could let OG Anunoby go and unleash him. Because then, before you know it, if we're in a close game, we might bump the lead up to 10 or 11 because of those couple of minutes that OG Anunoby was out there cooking. So this is where Tibbs now can see this and make that adjustment, because the ascension of OG Anunoby has been huge for this team, especially with the playoffs right around the corner. This has been great, man.
Love what I'm seeing from OG and Anunoby. Yep. So look, everything's looking good right now. We just have to get through these final 8 games healthy, get the captain back, and we just go from there. Again, right now it is Knicks, Pistons. A lot can change in these final 8. Pistons and the Bucks play each other the final 2 games of the season, so that can really factor into who we play in that series. Crimes Dad says, should we try and beat the Pistons near end of the season or lose to them? I wonder how that will play out. It depends. Like, we don't really need these games. What you really want to do is build habits. Just, I don't know. The Pistons may want to try to take you out in that game. I don't know, man. I don't.
When do we play them? Is it like what is it? Like, how many games before the end of the season? Like, is it like the 4th game before the end of the season? When do we play them, man? Let's take a look at the schedule here. Okay, so we got. Oh, look at that! We got them the 3rd game before the end.
Yeah,
To
ain't
me,
nobody
that's the
gonna
game
play,
where you.
man.
To me, that's where you probably sit everybody. The only person you will play is probably Brunson. Brunson about 15, 20 minutes, and then you take him out. And then that's what I would do. But that's why it's important here, like just watching these games. You see, we got Philadelphia, we got Cleveland right there, right? Those are back to backs. Brunson's not going. I think Brunson could possibly return back Sunday against Phoenix, hopefully.
That's what I said too. But
right. If he can do that, and that'd be 15 minutes there, 15 minutes against Boston. I would take the day off from Detroit and Cleveland and then have him play again against Brooklyn. But I would really be mindful in watching how he plays and how he looks, because I don't want him to re-aggravate that ankle, right? But you got to get him in there. You got to rev him up, Ant. And so that's kind of like what I would do with him. But I would keep him away from Detroit. I would stay far away from them. They're too dirty of a team. You know what I mean? I just don't trust them with our star players. So those final games, what I would do, Boston, Detroit, Cleveland, and Brooklyn, I'm sitting everybody except for Brunson. Everybody's sitting.
I agree. You want to be healthy. If you're not, then it doesn't matter. So you can step on an ankle here and there. I know these guys care about their accolades. Brunson said he cares about his accolades. Not that he like everyone. I mean, if you were in Brunson's spot too, you would want to look back 20 years from now and be like, oh, I was all NBA. I had a great year that year. And that matters, man, honestly. So that's why I thought Brunson will be back versus Phoenix, because if he comes back, Phoenix plays versus Boston, plays versus Detroit, sits versus Cleveland, and then plays the final game of the season. That gives him the 4 extra games that he needs to reach that 65-game mark. But I don't really know if he wants to push it. If he's not healthy, why push it, man? Why push it? This is a big playoff run. Only got 8 more of these things, man. I'm excited, OV. I really am.
Yeah, you and I both, man. You and I both. I can't wait, man.
Can't wait as well. Hit some of these comments before we hop on out of here. Once again, appreciate you guys tuning in, giving us your time on this Tuesday afternoon, excuse me. April Fool's Day. Don't get got out there. A lot of stuff out there floating around. April Fools. I got a couple times.
Yeah.
Crimes asked that it wasn't a serious question, just saying it may mean we play them or not in the playoffs. He needs 4 games. Why wouldn't y'all play Brunson? I thought Thibs was about toughness. LOLC, it's biting him in the ass now. No bench from a kid from Val. Then he says Knicks messed up after 2013 when they traded Steve Novak.
You talking about Novocaine? Yeah,
Novocaine.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Hilarious. Once again, appreciate you guys tuning in. All right, LV, any final things you wanted to say before we hop on out of here?
Nah, man, let's just get ready for this last haul, man. This last stretch. Let's see. Let's pray, and hopefully the captain comes back Sunday. I think he needs it. And just get ready for the playoffs, man. It's here now.
It's go time. This is when the fun starts. 8 more of these things. Once again, appreciate you. This was fun, LV. I'm Anthony. We'll catch you guys next time. Have a great day. Peace.